Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure to like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So Joe Biden's approval rating, it is tanking even further. It is at 42 percentage points, which means that Republicans are going to be even more energized to turn out and confront Biden in this midterm election that is going to be coming up this November. An authentic red wave, is it brewing, at least compared to even red waves in the past in terms of who's rising up in the ranks, which candidates are running? I tend to believe so. We're going to eventually have a lot of good people that have the potential to get elected and enact serious change, unlike Republican freshman classes of elected officials in years past. Obviously, we're not going to be able to get rid of every single bad guy, and we understand this, but still, a red wave is brewing, and I wanted to kind of essentially talk about the best case scenario, because Republicans could win. We know that they're likely to win, but what happens if they win big? Like, what would the maps look like? Who would get elected? What primary implications? Because we have to talk about that as well, because primaries matter. Obviously, if we win with a bunch of weak individuals, is it really that much of a victory? I don't think so. But we're going to get into all of this for the House, the Senate, the governor's races, etc., and the primaries. But first, I have to tell you guys about my very good friends over at Noble Gold. Now, something with the economy is not adding up. Stocks are at record highs, but the government just borrowed $5 trillion. Inflation is transitory, but just went up to 6.8%. How much did your wages go up? How about your gas, your electricity? A little bit of a contrast there, but a precious metals IRA with Noble Gold will help you avoid the worst of this. And this month, Noble Gold is giving away a free 10th ounce solid gold American Eagle coin with any qualifying plan you start. Call 877-646-5347 or visit noblegoldinvestments.com. Again, that is noblegoldinvestments.com. I also have to tell you guys real quick about redeaglepolitics.com as well. If you want to watch exclusive videos, read exclusive articles, and join the RAP Discord, you are more than welcome to do so. It is $5 a month or 16 cents a day. You get all of the exclusive content only at redeaglepolitics.com. So back to the video, back to the topic, best case scenario for Republicans. So I wanted to talk about primaries first. Now, we need to get in the right people where we possibly can. The most America First candidate that can win said district or said state, that is who we need to be running, and we need to replace the old guard. I want people to look up to. It's a lot of conservatives who may not be that invested. People that actually sit back and like Dan Crenshaw because of his military background, because they don't understand where he stands on key issues. They don't know how awful he is. I want them to have an alternative. I want them to turn to somebody like Joe Kent when it comes to somebody who's running for Congress that's actually good on the issues, and look up to a candidate like that. We need this counterculture brewing in Congress. There's going to be a lot of infighting. There's going to be a little bit of division, and that's understandable. We understand that moving forward, but at least give people the option, because they are going to choose the America First candidate every single chance, unless they're just some neoconservative, war-hungry, LARPer hack individual. Obviously, we know that. If you talk about the Senate, who do people look up to in the Senate? People like Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, maybe. Okay, why not give them the option of looking up to somebody like Adam Laxalt or Blake Masters, or somebody who's actually better on the issues, whoever wins that Missouri primary, etc. Are these people necessarily all going to be 100% perfect on everything? Not necessarily, but we're starting to push the Overton window in the right direction, and these little incremental wins, I wouldn't even call them incremental. I'd say there'd be a massive step in the right direction. It's a good sign for 2024. There's going to be a lot of open seats in the Rust Belt. If Biden's approval is still low, maybe you'll see some victories there. So that's really it for the primaries. Replace the old guard. Give people some sort of alternative in terms of the public officials that they look up to. Have more like Tucker-aligned people instead of this like old 2016 Rubio style of congressman that gets propped up by the establishment. So keep that in mind. But in terms of the House, this is the redistricting map so far. They're filling it in. I would say the generic ballot best case scenario is probably somewhere around R+8, R+9. Do I think that's necessarily going to happen? I don't know, but I'm almost certain that Republicans are going to win the generic ballot. We've seen polls that have like Democrats up by 2 or 3, but they have like 20% undecided. And those undecideds disapprove of Biden significantly to the point where I'm guaranteeing you if they were to vote, they would probably vote Republican in the midterms. And obviously redistricting hasn't gone the way Republicans have wanted it, but even in a state like New Mexico, where Democrats pick up a seat technically, Republicans might end up winning 2 of those. Same thing with a lot of the dummy mandering that goes on in a place like Illinois, and probably what will happen in a place like New York. Yes, Republicans dropped the ball in Nebraska. They've dropped the ball, it looks like, in the early drafts of Florida and Missouri. Obviously, things can change. There's still going to be litigation and other things that will be taking place. But I will say that Republicans still, I believe, could end up gaining 40 seats, maybe even a little bit more in a best case scenario if you have an R+8, R+9 type of generic ballot. I think R+5, R+6 might be the benchmark for an average prediction so far, in which they would probably gain like 25 seats, which isn't bad, but in a best case scenario, they could really look into picking off some seats that otherwise you wouldn't have thought, just because of the turnout differential. So there's that for the House. But in terms of the Senate, now this is not necessarily a full-on like prediction, oh, these are going safe. No, that's not what this is. But we're just talking about the current map. This is the current map. What are the flips going to be? I think Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Florida, those are going to be all holds. Same thing with Ohio and Iowa. Now, where will the flips come? Well, I think that Georgia's probably one of the most likely to flip with Herschel Walker. He has a lot more suburban appeal than Kelly Loeffler. He will drive out the base turnout more as well. He will likely defeat radical liberal Raphael Warnock, okay? So Arizona, Nevada, and New Hampshire are the other flips. New Hampshire, I think, is probably the limit. I don't think Republicans are going to flip any more than that. They're not going to be able to flip Connecticut, Maryland, Colorado, etc., unless they happen to put up some like liberal Republican who got like all the funding and had like crossover endorsements. And I don't want that. We don't need any more Murkowskis in the Senate, which, by the way, in the best case scenario, Murkowski gets primaried out. But New Hampshire, Republicans would have to find their footing there, find a candidate. Maybe it is Don Bolduc or whoever. In a best case scenario, New Hampshire would flip. But also Arizona would likely flip. Masters, I think, has a lot of momentum. Is he ahead in the polls right now? No, but he's doubling the fundraising coming out of the Brnovich campaign. He's the front runner for the Trump endorsement. If that continues, yes, he will be the front runner within a couple of months or so. Nevada, right here, this is a state where Republicans are gaining significantly in terms of the momentum as a party apparatus because the Democrats are slacking off. They're now run by these DSA-aligned individuals. Catherine Cortez Masto only won by a couple points in 2016, which was not a red wave election, which essentially she was running up against a candidate who was pretty bad of a candidate. I think he actually like underperformed Donald Trump, even in like the county he was from or something like that. It was abysmal. But I think Nevada with Laxalt can easily be a flip there. So 54 to 46 is what we're looking at in terms of the Senate races. Now, this is huge. Even though it's not, they didn't gain a large amount of seats, they only picked off 4. Well, 2024's map, you have Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, all potential flips there. Obviously, might be a little difficult in Pennsylvania with Bob Casey, but you never know. He might retire, etc. Then you talk about flips in Arizona. Maybe if Sinema gets primaried out of there, which is what the polls are showing now, but we don't know if it's going to happen. And you have a potential for a flip in Nevada. Democrats really don't have any potential flips on the table for 2024. You might be looking at 62 plus Senate seats when you take into account Ohio, West Virginia, and Montana. I mean, if Manchin wants to retain his seat, he's probably going to switch parties, but I don't know if he will do that. So 54-46 right here. In terms of the governor's elections, it's probably imperative that we do this. Now, Democrats are going to see some flips even in a best-case scenario because Charlie Baker and Larry Hogan are either not running or they can't run for re-election, so Democrats will gain those. Republicans, however, will obviously pick up Kansas. They will sweep the Rust Belt. Wisconsin, Tony Evers, and Michigan's Gretchen Whitmer will likely lose. Pennsylvania's an open seat. Shouldn't be that hard to flip it. That's 30 to 20. So where can Republicans gain from here? You look at Nevada, where the nominee will likely end up being the Clark County Sheriff, who won, obviously, elections in the past in Clark County. So that's where the population center is. He's also better on the issues than Dean Heller, which is a bonus. Also, you have Minnesota and New Mexico. Those are the other potential ones, as well as Maine that you could flip. In the best case scenario, New Mexico would flip. Ron Chetty's running. He outperformed Trump by like 6 points in 2020, even though his platform wasn't really all that different. Solid candidate overall. I think that he will pull a Youngkin and win, except I think he has more integrity as a politician than Youngkin does in terms of, where he comes out of. He's, just in the news media, kind of like Kerry Lake, compared to somebody like Youngkin, who worked in a firm that was tied with the Bush administration, the Carlyle Group, for years as the CEO. So beyond that point, Republicans will probably, in the best case scenario, I kind of want to leave Minnesota blue, because even in the best years for Republicans, they've never been able to pick off Minnesota. I think Maine could flip. LePage is actually polling pretty well, which is surprising, because even in the previous red waves, he won as a fluke. But Mills is losing popularity. It's possible Maine flips, and I think you might see a flip in a place like Connecticut or Rhode Island in the best case scenario. We could just say, let's just say Connecticut, because that was close. We'll say the best case scenario, Connecticut could flip, and Minnesota could flip. 35-15 in the governorships. Republicans hold a massive amount of states, houses at that point, and we know this. If this happens, it's possible. I think realistically they're probably going to hold in the low 30s, but still, the Senate map, 54. I think 53 might be the floor and 54 might be the ceiling realistically, because a lot of these states are swing states. If you just flip it back a little bit, you're going to see a lot of flips, and it seems like that is bound to happen, because the Brandon administration, as our boomers love to put it, is it's floundering as we speak in the polling, and no amount of sorcery at this point is really going to save him. I mean, it would take a massive like development to turn his approval ratings around. So that's really all there is for this video. Best case scenario in the House, R+8, they gain like 40 seats, even with the gerrymandering working against them. In the Senate, they flip 4 seats. In the governorships, they flip a net 7 seats. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Please like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. Join the website, redeaglepatriots.com, for all those exclusive benefits for just 16 cents a day. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle out.